Namaste, everyone. My name is Nick. First of all, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a nice yin yoga class dedicated to the hips on the menu for today. This practice will utilize longer held postures with a minimalistic approach to cueing. For this class, you're going to need one strap. Make sure that it has a buckle and it's a little bit longer so you can get a nice big loop like so, and two blocks. If you don't have these things, household objects that are similar will work. And if you don't have anything that works at all, you'll still be able to do this class, but you might not get some of the benefits out of actually using the props. So we're going to start in a seated position. Bring your blocks underneath your seat. I like to have them directly next to one another to give your hips a little bit more space to kind of start off in. And of course, if you don't need the blocks to sit on, don't use them. We'll begin with Nadi Shodano, alternate nostril breathing. Left hand comes into Jnana Mudra, thumb and index touching with the palm facing up on your left knee. Then the right hand will come into a fist. Start by opening up your thumb, pinky, and ring fingers. Rest your right thumb on your right nostril and your ring finger on your left nostril. And we'll go back and forth between the two, alternating with a count of 4 on the inhale and exhale. So go ahead and place the hands where they need to be, heavy down through your shoulders just a little bit. And either bring your eyes to the tip of your mat or close them. Take a deep breath in. And a slow breath out. Block the right side. Inhale through the left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the left and exhale through the right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Now keep going on your own. And remember that the switch is after the inhale. Let the rhythm be easy, allowing the inhale and exhale to stay even. And work towards a deeper, slow breath without feeling like you're rushing or straining to do so. And the next time that you exhale through your left nostril, you'll release your right hand down to mirror your left hands. But again, don't rush to get there. And continue to breathe in the same way through both nostrils. So you're inhaling for about a count of 4. And exhaling to match your inhale. Notice the sense of steadiness, the sense of calm, but also resilience that the breath helps to create. Allow that sense that you've created now within yourself to follow you through your practice today. Go ahead and blink the eyes open. You're going to set the blocks off at the front of your mat. So towards opposite corners, and then have your strap just somewhere that it's out of the way. Meet in a tabletop pose, wrists under shoulders, grip the mat with the fingertips, knees underneath your hips, and tuck the toes. Then inhale, arch your spine, reach your chest forward, tailbone up. Exhale, round your spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone in. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. About 3 more times on your own. And the next time that you inhale, come back into cow pose and hold there. And then, like you're drawing a circle around your knees, exhale, circle around to the right and find your way into a cat so that your hips are a little bit more over your heels, so you're halfway between tabletop and child's pose. Then inhale, circle to the left, come back into cow pose at the front of the mat. One more time in that direction, exhale, circle around to your right. Inhale, circle forward to your left. Go back to the left as you exhale, rounding into the back. Inhale, circle forward to the right. Exhale, circle back to the left. One more time, inhale, circle forward and to the right. Exhale, circle back and to the left. Find your way into a more neutral position. Grab onto your blocks, place them underneath your shoulders, and step your right foot forward in between your hands. Lunge. So right knee is going to be more or less over the right ankle, and your left knee is going to be behind the left hip, so you have a greater angle between your knees. Feel free to keep your blocks around your foot like so. Dip the hips down, reach the chest slightly forward, but without getting too active in that. You could even take the hands off the blocks and have them on the floor, will be a little bit less intense. And then as you walk the hands back and get the shoulders more over the hips, the intensity will start to dial up. Find a position that's comfortable for you and start to settle in there. And of course, you don't need to use the blocks if you want to just let the arms float by your sides or even take the hands to the hips. Some might even like hands kind of around the front knee. Regardless of what position you choose in your arms, the sensation here is the same. Feel like both of your hips, the back of the right hip in front of the left hip, get heavy. And feel as if both of your legs are not working to hold you here, so there's no muscular contraction, but just the connective tissue is holding you in place, and that is what is starting to stretch and lengthen. And wherever you've ended up, just work to keep a steady gaze. Even if you are in a more upright position, let the neck be a natural extension of your spine, and then the gaze just goes right out in front of wherever the face is facing. Even pace in your breath. It's about the last 45 seconds. Now, if you're more upright, lean forward more and start to push down hard into your hands. Shift your hips back and straighten or straight-ish the right leg. And rock your right toes from side to side a little bit so you loosen up the right hip. It might even feel nice to take your blocks around to the left a little bit and then angle the right knee out to the side a little bit, bend and straighten the right leg. Just find some intuitive movement here that allows the hips to release for a moment. And our next posture will be a pigeon pose. Walk the hands back towards the front of the mat. So rebend your right knee and take your right foot over towards the left. So the right knee is going to settle down, right foot comes in close to the left hip, and then hips will go back as far as they need to. Also keep in mind here, if your knee's a little sensitive, if you're on a hardwood floor, you could double up the mat and place the left knee on the doubled up part of the mat. That actually feels pretty nice, so I'm going to stay here. Once you've set up your posture, you could place a block underneath your left thigh if it's a little high, even a block underneath your right hip, blocks under the elbows, the head, or shoulders, whatever you need to do to support yourself. Go ahead and find that position that works for you, and we'll settle here for about 2.5 minutes. So even though the shape of the posture has changed a little bit, the goal is the same. Feel that neither of your legs are contracting or resisting the floor. And feel that both of your hips are working to get heavy. And in that heaviness, you'll feel the connective tissues in your outer right hip, some of you the front of the left hip, starting to be challenged by this. Do the best that you can to stay present, stay calm and grounded in the face of challenges, adversities. But know when your sensations are starting to become maybe not so beneficial. And if that does happen, find a way to ease up in the posture or completely release it for a few moments. Otherwise, continue to just observe, breathe, and be. A little bit longer here. All right. So to release this pose, I like to drop the hips kind of over to the right so it's a little bit more biased towards that side. Walk your hands in underneath your shoulders and then swing your right leg back to meet your left leg. Now here you can take the right leg back and kind of like wiggle out the right leg. I'm actually going to take a down dog with the hands on blocks just because I don't mind being a little bit more active in the in practice. Take the right leg up and move that right leg around a little bit. But continue to just kind of move around intuitively and do what feels good for you. Eventually we'll meet with the knees on the floor. Have your blocks on like more or less the second highest setting. Step your left foot forward. Wiggle the right knee back if it needs to, and you're set up for side number 2. Feel free to have your blocks in whatever setting they need to be in if you're using them. And again, if you want to double up the mat, you can do that here too. And while we do work to try to set up the posture as symmetrically as possible, you'll hear different people say different things about this. But for me, I would say worry less about what it looks like. So even if it looks a little different from side to side, try to find a similar sensation on both sides. Heavy through your hips, no contracting muscles in your legs. And then as time goes by, see if you can ease up the weight in your hands. As this is a pretty challenging posture, you'll notice you'll start off kind of heavy in the arms, pushing and resisting. But really our work in this practice is to let go of all of that. About one more minute. Lean forward so you can put a little bit more weight into your hands and use that to shift your hips back. Left leg will go straight or straightish. Rock the left toes from side to side a little bit. I like this weird little angled position where the hands go more off to the right. You can kind of bend and straighten the left leg and play around with that. And if there's anything else that intuitively speaks to you, like any movements that you like in between, go ahead and do those. And we'll set up our second side, our second posture. Bring the hands back to the front of the mat, wiggle the left foot over towards the right. Set your left knee down onto the floor. Feel free to use your props to help assist you here. And eventually find your way down into your folded position. And I guess technically in Yin this would be Sleeping Swan. I've been using the more vinyasa names. So here we're in Sleeping Swan, heavy in the hips. Finding less and less contraction in the muscles around the legs. And more the feeling of ease and letting go. And when you start to get challenged in these postures, what you can do is find a little bit more length in your exhales as you breathe. This will help to keep the central nervous system more calm and encourage a greater, or hopefully encourage a greater sense of relaxation. A couple more moments here. And so really use the hands to bring your torso up. Drop the hips over to the left a little bit. Push heavy into the hands. Find your way either into tabletop, downward facing dog, or any other little counter movements that feel good. Again, hands in the blocks might feel nice. Change of pace. And then again, set your knees down onto the floor. Go ahead and turn to face one of the long sides of your mat. Doesn't matter which way. And open up the legs wide into a Upavishta Konasana, straddle. So here, blocks can be helpful many different places. Some of us might like blocks underneath the knees. If you have like a pillow or something to sit on, that could be good. Blocks might be a little high to sit on. And if you're more tight here, hands behind you to start off, just to help you kind of prop up and get the head over your hips. Even using the hands behind you to help encourage the spine forward is useful. And once you're ready, blocks underneath your arms. Maybe even you just prefer blocks underneath your head. Ultimately, the props should just be used to help encourage the feeling of steadiness in the postures. Because while we don't want this practice to be overwhelming or stressful, you also want to try to stay away from keeping it so easy that nothing's happening. So find that position in the posture where you feel something taking place, some sensation, maybe a little bit of a challenge, but without that being overwhelming and without yourself being overwhelmed. Relax your ankles, your feet. If you do this pose a lot in active practice, you might be used to more active legs and ankles and feet and all that. So keep encouraging yourself to let that go. I know I have to. And allow your hips to be really heavy here. It's going to be a big theme of this whole class is just heavy hips. And now just let the process unfold. Stay present and observe it as it does. One more minute here. And bring your hands underneath your shoulders if you're folded forward and really energize down into the hands to come up. Get the blocks out of your way. Grab behind the knees and place the heels on the mats. So your knees are bent with your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And then drop both of your legs over to the right. Come back through center, drop both of your legs over to the left. And go back and forth a few times at your own pace. If you'd like to mosey on one side or the other, feel free to do so, or you can find a little bit more pace. Once you've balanced out both of your sides, go ahead and pause there and grab onto your strap. Our next posture will be, it's called something that I don't remember off the top of my head. Hammock pose. There we go. Probably should edit that out, but we're going to leave it in. So you're going to grab onto your strap, have a nice long loop, and the strap is going to go behind your head. I like to do it like kind of like a headband, just above the ears. I really hope this doesn't mess up the sound. You'll come to lie down on your back with both of your knees bent to start, and hook your right sole of the foot inside of the strap, kind of like so. Now, your leg is relaxing forward, your head is relaxing backwards, which creates this nice hammock effect. And for most of us, a pretty big opening in the back of this right leg. If this is enough for you, great. If you want a little bit more, you can straighten the left leg. And then if this is bothering your neck in any way, you're more than welcome to put a block underneath your head. For me, that feels a little, I don't really enjoy that as much. So do what works for you. And keep in mind that you might have to actually adjust the tightness of the strap. Make it wider, make it less wide. Now, if you don't have blocks here, we're just grabbing behind the leg and doing the best you can to keep your arms relaxed is going to be the trick. Otherwise, the strap is really enhances this posture in such a great way. Now again, let go of all the muscles that might be trying to do the work for you. And feel how that creates a pulling effect on the connective tissue. Every time that you exhale, let there be a quality of ease, even if you're being challenged to maintain it. Head heavy, right foot relaxing into the strap. Even your left leg, checking over there, maybe something funny is happening, like a foot flexing or heel pushing down. Try to let go of all of that. About 1 more minute. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but this leg, of course, can be bent inside of the strap. It doesn't have to be straight. All right, if your left leg is straight, start by bending the left leg. Bend the right leg and push the foot into the strap a little bit. Bring your left foot to replace the right foot and switch sides. Then again, keep in mind you might have to make some adjustments to the tightness of the strap. So go ahead and do that preemptively, set it up. Then we can go with that left leg straight or bent. Right foot on the floor closer to your hip will be easier for most of us. Walking the right foot away from you will be harder. So even this right leg might just be towards straight, but not all the way there. Encourage the right leg to relax first, just so it's not really getting involved in the process. And like mentally ask of your left leg to relax so no musculature is getting involved in the process. And feel how that starts to create a tugging or a pulling on the connective tissues. Completely relax the neck so the head is heavy. And allow the sole of the left foot to release into the strap. And infuse your exhales with a sense of relaxing and letting go, even though this might be quite challenging. One more minute. Start by bending your right leg in, if it's straight. Bend your left foot and push into the strap a little bit. Grab onto the strap and let it go. Feel free to take any counter movements that you like here, like a little windshield wiper, maybe just kind of swimming the legs around in space, maybe a knee hug. And our last posture is going to be Supta Baddha Konasana with the blocks. So go ahead and locate your blocks. Hopefully they're closer to you than mine are to me. We do this a little bit differently. If you want to do traditional just blocks underneath your thighs, by all means go for it. You could also just use no blocks. Again, if you don't have them, then you're limited to that. Otherwise, what we're going to do here is work to get this pointy edge of the block to press kind of like right into the center of the glute muscle. So start like you're coming into bridge with the blocks on their lowest settings, tight to your hips. Lift your hips up off the floor and then angle the pointy edge of the block in so that it presses into your glute muscle. So feel like someone's like digging their elbow right into your muscle. Some of us are going to love that, myself included. Some of us are going to hate that or dislike it. And again, if this doesn't really feel like it's going to work for you, you can just take the blocks underneath the thighs instead. Either way, bring the soles of the feet together. And get yourself comfortable. You can go hands on the torso, arms out to the sides, or maybe grab an elbow or wrist above your head. Whatever you choose, just start to settle. Your feet touching with minimal effort. Your hips heavy. Inner legs softening. Upper body heavy. Lower back relaxed. And face soft. And again, let there be a sense of relief on your exhales, maybe even lengthening them here, if it seems appropriate. Good opportunity to close the eyes if you're comfortable doing so. Otherwise, just let them stay right at one point that's not too interesting. And if your mind does start to get congested with thoughts, which very, very quickly happens when the body is not doing much, simply redirect your focus to your breathing. And it doesn't matter how many times you have to do that. Really what matters is that you do that. And so we're just about at the point that we're going to release this posture and come into Shavasana. So I'm going to stay here on this pose because this feels really good for me and I feel like I could use another 5 minutes in the posture. If you're coming out of the pose and you have the blocks underneath your thighs, not your butt, you're going to just kind of use your hands to hug your knees in. For those of you that are in this position like me, you're going to place the feet flat on the floor. Dig the heels down, lift the hips up, slide the blocks out. And again, feel free to take counter postures like a knee hug, maybe a little twist. We didn't do a lot of that today. Really any of that today. But have yourself about 5 breaths to set up and close out your practice. Coming into Shavasana. So Shavasana, legs are extended out, hands come out to your sides. Shavasana is corpse pose, and just like the name implies, we don't do anything here. Take a deep breath in through your nose. A nice soft breath out through your mouth. 2 more like that. This time make an M sound when you exhale. Deep breath in. And feel all the points of contact between your body and the floor. Allow those body parts to really just get heavy now. No muscle contractions. No resistance. And notice how in the heaviness, there is also a sense of lightness, a sense of freedom, of boundlessness. Really lean into that feeling. And let it sustain you here as you rest. And I'm going to leave you here in this posture. Take as much time as you'd like to rest and just let everything we've done assimilate. If you have more time, great. Take it, use it. Once you're done resting, maybe take a little windshield wiper before rolling over to one side and pressing yourself up to a seat. Again, whatever that is, take your time, no rush. It is a pleasure sharing this practice with you, and I hope that we get to share practice again soon. Namaste.